Welcome to another episode of Missing Pieces. This is my weekly audio journal podcast where I talk about what I'm up to and what I'm into. And some of you are probably happy to hear me say that this week because at the end of last week's episode, I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger as to the future of this podcast series. I was discussing how everyone in my household is on the cusp of a new chapter of their lives, with Clark Mann returning to school after a summer break, Cody also going back to school after a much longer break, and then me going back into the world of being a content creator and making YouTube videos full time in a world that doesn't involve us traveling and going crazy, going places and living out our bucket list for a year. And as a content creator, I try to figure out what direction I'm going to go with a lot of things, and I'll be discussing a little bit of that later in this episode. But last week, I was really just thinking about how does this podcast play into that? And I was specifically thinking about how so much of what I discuss here is just videos that you will eventually see or have already seen and just recapping those. And as I thought about it throughout the week, that's by design, I suppose, because that's what this podcast is. It's my week. And oftentimes I record the things in video that I talk about here. But I started thinking about how this podcast, at least to me, and what seems like to you as well, because I did read the listener feedback, and there was a lot of people that was very encouraging for me to continue doing this, as it's something that they enjoy. I was thinking about how Missing Pieces really does encapsulate this podcast, because there's only so much that you can share in an edited 15, 20-minute video. When you sit down and talk about the behind the scenes, things that you're feeling and things that you're thinking that are very much within those videos, but outside of those videos as well, there's a lot to be gained from that. Not only for you, because as a listener, sure, you're listening to my brain and everything that I'm thinking about, but also for me, because it's nice for me to sit down and get this out. This is something that I enjoy doing. And also I was thinking about my future self, a person I think about a lot. And I was like, maybe it would be nice for me to sit down someday and go back through these audio journals and just kind of see what things were like then. What was I talking about? What did I look like then? And I guess I think that way for all of my videos, and what the whole purpose of Greg's World is a video time capsule of sorts. And this is kind of like my diary time capsule. So for those reasons, I really do think this is something that should continue. I've been doing this so long, and it would really honestly be a shame for it to stop. And I can't let the thought that, just because I'm recapping something like the director's cut sort of my videos, it shouldn't be the reason that I don't do this. So I do want to continue doing this, and I will for the foreseeable future. I will be making some changes here, though. I do feel like there needs to be a rebrand. So I'm going to be changing, and this most likely would have already happened before you're seeing this episode, so you would have already noticed it. But I'm changing the name back from Greg's World Podcast. Before that, it was Bricktech Live. It's not going back to that. I'm actually just going to change it to Missing Pieces, because that is the only series that I do here. About a year ago, in fact, exactly 1 year ago, I started, I guess, wanting to become a podcaster even more. And I, of course, went way overboard. And I had these various series that I was doing on here where I was doing like 3 podcasts a week. One was like the business meeting podcast. One was 3 questions. But the one that everyone seemed to like the most, and I guess the one that I was most passionate about, was, of course, the Missing Pieces audio journal, whatever we're calling this. Well, I know what we're calling it because it's called Missing Pieces. And what I want to do is rebrand the channel as Missing Pieces. I'm going to private all of the non-journal videos from the past, the ones that are just sitting back there, because what I want to do is have this whole row of videos all numbered. So I'm going to go through and try to figure out, and this is going to be probably the hardest part of all of this, I'm going to try to figure out what episode number we're on. I have no idea. I don't even remember when I stopped numbering them. I guess it was probably before I started making this a series or whatever. So we're at least 50 more episodes deep. So I'm going to do that in the podcast feed, on the YouTube feed as well. Everything's going to be numbered, and every time you see a new episode come out, it'll have a title and then like a line, and it'll say Missing Pieces episode number whatever. And I think that'll be really good for what this is, because that's what it always has been. There was some thought in my mind to maybe call it Extra Pieces, because I feel like it's like extra things on top of what we're doing. But I think Missing works really well too, because it's like the things that maybe you didn't see in the videos. So I think either way, but I already have the logo made up and I've got all the stuff. Hopefully I still have the the channel artwork and stuff like that, because it's gonna be hard for me to recreate that, but it feels like that's what it should be. And even though these episodes have kind of taken place over multiple channels, the spirit has always stayed the same, and I think it needs to stay for the future as well, because you have no idea who could possibly be gaining something from this. I hear from just a few people, but the vast majority are silent observers. It's the people you don't hear from, and maybe this could be helpful to somebody. And I like to think about that, but it's helpful for me too. So if you were worried about me stopping this series, you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to keep going, and I think that's for the best in a lot of ways in my life. And not necessarily like from a content creation standpoint, like this does not make me money. This isn't something that's generating a whole bunch of new viewers or listeners. It's not making me millions of dollars. I don't monetize this except for an ad in the very beginning. If you're listening to this in audio, I don't make any money off of it all. And I'm okay with that, because this to me is like a hobby. This isn't something that I need to generate income from. But I do know that I have a really good, strong audience here and community. I know that there's people there for me, and those are the people that I'm talking to. So let's keep this relationship going, and I want to keep going. Not specifically because it's like, oh my gosh, I need you to save me, but just like I need you to save me, you know? And I think me sitting here and talking about all these things really does that for me. I always talk about how it feels like you're my therapist, even though it's just me talking here, and you're just writing it down. I'm picturing me laying on the couch, and you're sitting there writing things down. And I think, like, the way my brain works, and I've talked about this on previous episodes, who knows what number, because they're not numbered yet. I talk about how my brain is kind of like one where it just runs these loops all the time, and oftentimes I just can't get things out of it. And this podcast, and why I say you're saving me, is because it enables me to just kind of get it out. And then once it's out, I can start thinking about something else. It's not good to stay fixated on things. So I'm thinking make the right decision here by doing this, and I'm glad to have you along on this journey of missing pieces for wherever and however long it goes. Let's just keep going. So that was one end of the content creator dilemma checked off. The other one was Lego. Greg's World is doing just fine. I'm just editing videos still that we recorded over the summer, and we'll be doing stuff as time goes by. But Lego, I really wanted to get back into, because it had been something that I neglected for like this entire year. It's just been so busy with us doing stuff that the last thing that I had time for would be to come down here and play around with some Lego stuff. But this past weekend, I kind of got back into it. I got all my Lego yard sale stuff together, and I put it on the table and around the table, and I did like this 19-minute video. If you like long form content, it's the video for you, where I share all of the Lego stuff that I got throughout yard sale season this year. They're all Greg's World videos, but the Brickitect audience, assuming that there are some people that don't subscribe to both, I do think there's a lot of overlap. They got to see everything, and I got to show in a little better detail. So that was fun to do. And the video did pretty well. There was a good response to it, which I really liked. And then I started also this week, I did some experimenting, because again, this is kind of like a new chapter, and it's like, let's see what things, if I pull these switches or flip these switches and pull triggers and pull strings, pull in and switch in whatever I can, let's just see how it impacts things and what the response is from those. So I did a few live streams this week, which did pretty well. I'm going to give you some actual numbers here, because I thought you might find this interesting. And as like a non-content creator, maybe if you do make videos and stuff, it's like, well, how much does someone make, or what is like the results of doing the things that you do? So I did 2 live streams this week, 3,700 views between the two of them. Not bad. Live streaming is one of those things on YouTube that most people aren't interested in. Most people come for regularly edited videos that aren't super short or super long. They want something that's like the Goldilocks of videos, like what my typical videos are. And the live streams did pretty well, 3,700 views, and collectively between those 2 videos, I made $15.47, which is pretty darn good for me literally just sorting through Lego and organizing things and chatting with people. Some of that money was through super chats, but some of it was through ads as well. The majority of it was through ads. I think each day we got like a $2 super chat. It wasn't anything crazy or whatever, but it was kind of cool to see that I can just work on stuff whenever I want to, and like there's people there, and it was a great conversation, and then you can make a little money doing like essentially what I'd consider to be a chore. It's like the thing just like this. If I live stream myself doing something that I don't necessarily want to do, it keeps me sane. You know, like it's like sorting's kind of boring, and I probably would just be listening to something or watching something, but it's way more fun for me to engage. And I guess I'm I wouldn't say I'm like a natural speaker or natural entertainer, but for some reason I really enjoy it. And I find that where you lack in talent and skills, sometimes just sheer motivation and excitement can overcome that. And that's the story of my entire YouTube career. So that was something I did, but I also did some shorts or short form content. I did 3 less than 1 minute long vertical videos, something I never record ever. In fact, just the idea of recording vertical like sends me into a tailspin, because like anytime I would see that pass, I'm like, no, you got to do it landscape, because that's how it is on YouTube. But now these days, as I talked about last episode, a lot of people's attention spans are going to their phones, and they're holding their phones like they hold phones, and that's where the content is. So I give you some stats here. I posted it, and I thought this would be really fun and a great experiment to do, even if it is just a small one. Those 3 shorts or short form content I posted to Instagram, TikTok, and to YouTube Shorts, just to see what would happen and how the videos performed. The best performance came from Instagram Reels, I guess is what it is. 7,100 views across those 3 less than 1 minute videos. So you're talking less than 3 minutes of content. And I think I gained like 50 followers on Instagram. I don't know for certain. I have like 5,000 and some followers on Instagram, which is pretty crazy considering like I don't really do anything over there. I post a couple times a year maybe, but that I think I need to do more of that, because there is an audience of people there, or I guess my audience, and they like to see what's up. So you can post I'm describing Instagram. You can post photos, you can post little short videos and things like that. And the way I see Instagram, I guess I'll talk about this a little bit in the next segment. Let's go on to the next platform, which is TikTok. TikTok is my lowest follower count. I think I have like 1,000 followers on TikTok, which again is pretty crazy, because prior to this I had like 3 or 4 videos that I put on there, and they were all absolute garbage. And it was really interesting is when I went to get on TikTok through my Brickitect account. I hadn't been on there for like a year. My account was like blocked. It said I had been banned because all 4 of my videos that I had up had all been like flagged. So I'm assuming that was just some kid probably trying to mess with me, flagged all my videos, and because of that, my account had been banned. So what I had to do is like, and they wanted me to prove that I was an adult too, because they were thinking that I was a kid. So I had to like take a picture of my ID with me holding it with a code and send it in so they can unlock my account. And then they ultimately ended up unflagging the videos, because I sent a message and I'm like, hey, these are just like normal videos. I don't know what violations they're guilty of. And then like one day, I never got a response, but everything's back to normal now. But I only had until August 31st, supposedly, to verify this stuff before they deleted my account. So the Brickitect account almost got deleted because of some jerks. So, but yeah, TikTok probably could have been deleted because it didn't do very well. Of my 1,000 followers there, I didn't really get any new ones from posting those 3 shorts or TikToks or whatever. And they only got 849 views. So 7,000 on Instagram, less than 1,000 on TikTok. Not great, but I mean, maybe there's potential there in the future. And again, if I had just posted 3 videos to YouTube back in 2011 and been like, oh, I got 6 views across my 3 videos, I guess I'm not going to do YouTube anymore. That's definitely not the mentality you need to have when you're becoming a social media person. You want to just stay consistent. Just like I always say, show up and stay consistent. That's the most important thing that you can do. Time and pressure. Eventually something will happen. That being said, I'm not necessarily trying to grow a TikTok audience. TikTok for me would only be a place that I would probably go if like something catastrophic happened with YouTube. But I think that's more likely to happen to TikTok than YouTube in terms of like getting shut down or whatever. So I just posted there because it's like, hey, I have this, so why not post it across the platform? So I posted TikTok, 849 views, 7,100 on Instagram. Well, how did YouTube do? The place that I have the most followers or subscribers, I got 182,000 subscribers on YouTube versus 5,000 followers on Instagram. Well, it was interesting because my shorts collectively amongst the 3 of them, 6,100 views. So 1,000 fewer views than Instagram with what, like 30, 40 times the number of subscribers. So Instagram by far really is the place to go, it seems. And if you're wondering about, I actually earned money on the shorts though. How much money did I earn? How rich did I get? On those 6,100 views, I made 69 cents. 69 cents on YouTube, and I gained 10 subscribers, which is pretty cool, right? I mean, making any amount of money off of content is pretty neat, especially if it's just a few minutes of video work. I will say it's a lot easier to make YouTube shorts than it is to make like an edited video. I kind of just was splicing a couple clips together on my phone and bloop, it's out. That being said, it doesn't seem like that necessarily is going to grow my channel any faster or better than just me doing what I have always done and what I prefer to do, and that's just to make my what I would call long form content, but as a podcast listener, this is actual long form content. I make medium form content on YouTube. So I like doing that. And I think that's what I'm going to do going forward. So like my plan as of right now, after kind of just seeing the results from that, I'm going to work on Lego stuff Monday through Friday. Weekends I'm taking off so we can do like family stuff. Monday through Friday, during the day, I'm going to work on Lego stuff. I'm going to document what I'm working on there and then make videos when appropriate. It's not going to be something where it's like every day I need to make a video, especially if I don't like have some type of thing finished or a conclusion to it. And I'm okay with it just being a few videos a week. But what I am going to do each day is I'm going to do a little live stream, not a long one because I don't want to get burnt out on it, but a live stream that caps itself at 30 minutes. In fact, I'm going to set an alarm on my phone. So once the stream hits 30 minutes, I'm out. And I think that'll be really nice because through the live streams, what I found through them, while they don't generate new subscribers or find a new audience or make a lot of money or anything like that, I think it's nice to engage with your current audience and to have a conversation with them and allow them to kind of like be a part of what you're doing. Very much like what this is. This is a live stream that's not live, essentially. So if you get value out of this, it's the same type of value that someone would get from hanging out with me for 30 minutes while I break down a Lego set or sort something or work on building something. Where I've gotten into the trap of is like I'll stream until I actually finish what I'm doing, and sometimes it just goes a little too long, and like I don't want to do that every day because I know that's going to get bad. But if I can make a point of finding a 30-minute window, which is not hard to do, we have lots of 30-minute windows throughout our day. In fact, if you did the math on it, we've got 48 30-minute windows. You could find one of those 48 times and just like fire up a live stream. It's so easy to do. And then we just be like, hey, I'm working on this thing. What's up, everybody? How are you doing? You know, that. And I like that too, because as you can tell, it's just me here. Roxy Berry is right over here. That's her booty right there that you can see. But it's just us. And it's nice to like talk to other people. Most people that when they go to work, there's like interaction. So it's like, it may save me from going insane. So I'm going to do that. We got following along here. We've got working on Lego stuff daily, documenting what I'm doing, making videos where appropriate, live streaming 30 minutes a day. And then I think what I'm going to do is just post like a photo to TikTok. Not necessarily a short, just something quick like, here's what I'm working on. Here's a little thing that I built today. Here's what I tore down today. And I think that'll be nice because that'll engage that audience there, because lots of people go there just to doom scroll the photos. And then like as for shorts and things like that, I might do it where that's appropriate. Like if there's something that I want to share that doesn't take up an entire minute, I might just make a short on it, but I'm not going to make shorts every single day because it's just, it's not, for, at least in the very short experiment that I did here, it's not really doing anything for me. You know, from growing an audience to like from a financial standpoint, there's just no reason for it as of right now. I'm doing much better just making my regular videos because that's what people are coming to YouTube for. Now, it could be said that if I do try to make a little short, maybe you forget about that Instagram photo and try just to make something short and sweet and silly or whatever. I could post that across YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So that's something to consider. But again, I don't want to put too much on my plate. And for me, like if I had to prioritize, I would say the videos are number one, the live streams would be number two, and then the shorts would be number three. Unless I found that the shorts were really generating a lot of new people to my page, which would be nice because then those people they're like active people. So because so much of my audience is subscribed years ago, and people particularly in the Lego space, they don't stick around for long. You know, like they find you in 2018, it's unlikely they're there in 2020. If they find you in 2020, it's unlikely they're in 2022. So unless you have like a constant churning of videos and things that are like getting traction and suggestions from YouTube, which right now I don't because I haven't been putting the time or effort into it. It's surprising. It's funny how that kind of stuff correlates, right? It's you just kind of find yourself in like a spot. So I'm just trying to figure out strategy here. I don't know if this is of interest to anyone that doesn't do this, but I think it's kind of cool. Like, how often do you get somebody that does this for a living to sit down and like actually talk about their strategy and like what their numbers actually are and their plans? I think I'd be fascinated, but that's just me. And that's ultimately what this podcast is, I guess. It's just me talking about things I like and I'm interested in. So let's talk about something that I'm very interested in. That's having fun. And this week, there was a day we got to do just that. Even with Clarkman going back to school, or so we thought, there was a day, Tuesday night, I'll paint you the picture here. Tuesday night, there was this terrible storm in the middle of the night, like woke me up at 1 o'clock in the morning. It was the worst storm that I think we've ever had in terms of wind and rain. It was so loud. It was crazy. We woke up Wednesday morning, like everything's okay. Chicken coop didn't get blown over. Everybody's okay. But what wasn't okay was the power status at the school. We got a text message about 7:30 in the morning. Clark had already gotten ready. I packed his lunch. We got a text message that the school had no power and they didn't have to go to school. So I was like, sweet. It did feel bad for people. Like if you were a person that works a normal job and you were going to see your kid off to school and then you were going to go to work. I don't know what all those people did. I guess you'd have to call off or find a babysitter, which is really tough in like the final minutes before they have to leave. Clark leaves just after 8 o'clock in the morning. So we had like 30 minutes to make this happen. Maybe they were trying up until then to get the power working again. But we decided, with this day off, a bonus day of summer, if you will, that we were going to take full advantage of this. And the one thing that I had wanted to do over the summer that we just never found time to do was to go to Hoopla's and play mini golf. I won this Hoopla's gift card at Clark's Spring Fling. That's how long ago this was. They had all these baskets lined up with all these various things in them. And when you came in, they gave you a few tickets for paying admission to go into the Spring Fling. It was almost like a fundraiser of sorts. They collected all this money and then they had various baskets of various values. And I wasn't even going to play. I was trying to give my ticket away to our friend and she's like, no, you play. And I was like, okay. So I wrote my name and phone number on it. And then I put it on this one that had a $50 Hoopla's gift card and a little thing of Sour Patch Kids and had like some animal crackers, like ice animal crackers. Some of the stuff was like sports equipment, like nothing too crazy. Some were like gift cards to like Steakhouse. Some of them were, it could be like stuff that came from Target, a whole bunch of things. And I wasn't sure about the interest in the Hoopla's one, but I was like, I really want to go there specifically to play mini golf and play the arcade and stuff. So I put it on there, didn't think much of it, figured I wouldn't win. But then when we got home that night, I got a phone call and they're like, hey, you won this. So on Monday, I went and I picked up my basket and got my gift card. And I had plans of taking Clarkman there to play mini golf, but if you didn't notice, we had a bit of a busy summer. So with this bonus day, I was like, how perfect would this be if we were to go to Hoopla's during the day when pretty much everyone is at work and at school and we just run amok there and have fun playing golf. And when you know it, that's exactly what we did. Went there. Mini golf was $10 for each of us and it's unlimited. So you can play all day if you want to. Clark and I, man, there was one other family out there. That was it. And it was actually kind of fun because we found like this stream that ran through all these different holes. And then if you throw your ball in there, it's not lost. It goes down through all these areas and then pops out and goes like in a hole, like the golf hole. Is that what you call it? Yeah. And Clark, after we finished playing, Clark was doing that a bunch of times. And the ladies' kids came over, they were doing it. It was fun, but it was so nice not being behind anyone mini golfing. It was a thing of beauty. We were just having fun, goofing around. We weren't playing serious, of course. Clarkman is never a serious golfer. But man, it was a beautiful day. It was just like perfection. So we got the opportunity to finally do that. Check that off my list. Then we went over to Ollie's, Ollies. It's almost like it's like a Big Lots, if you know what that is. It's like a place that they sell stuff that other stores tried selling but couldn't, so everything's like kind of at clearance prices. I heard some arcade one-up cabinets were starting to appear in Ollie's, specifically the NFL Blitz one, for like super cheap. And I was like, let me just go over and see if they have it. And unfortunately, they did not. And their toy selection kind of sucked. Clark was looking for Transformers. They had one Transformer, but he wasn't interested. And it was $20. It wasn't even a deal. So we kind of just bailed on that. And Clark wanted pizza for lunch. Even picked that over McDonald's. And I was like, okay. I'm a pizza guy. Where do you want to get pizza at? Pizza Hut? Or he's like, Little Caesars. And I was like, oh, Little Caesars. He's like, I just love the pretzel crust pizza. I'm like, okay. So we went over to Little Caesars and got a pretzel crust pizza and I ordered breadsticks. Or so I thought. And the lady was like, do you want the slices with the sticks and slices? I was like, yeah, like sliced breadsticks. And she gives me 2 pizza boxes when we leave. I'm like, that's a little weird. But I look into it when we got in the parking lot, and it's like my breadsticks are half a pizza, like a pepperoni pizza, and then like these cheese bread, like that's also like half a pizza that's like all like cut up like breadsticks. So it's like essentially like half a pizza that's cut up. It's not breadsticks. Clark's like, do you want to? You should go back in and tell her. I was like, nah, it won't go to waste. So we brought that home, had some pizza, but the fun wasn't over then. Clark had been wanting to see the new Transformers movie, Rise of the Beasts, and it was available to rent on Amazon. And I had all these promotional credits that I need to use because Amazon does this thing through Prime where if you're getting something shipped to you, if you're willing to wait like an extra day, they'll give you $1.50 of like digital credit. And I'm never in a hurry for my stuff. It's not like an emergency, which is kind of the reason that I shouldn't even bother having Prime, but we do. And I had like 3 of those saved up. So we could rent the Transformers movie for like $1.49. So the whole day, like we had to play free mini golf. The pizza thing was like $15. Little Caesars is pretty cheap. And you get what you pay for there. Clark likes it. And then the movie we rented for $1.49. We sat right here and watched it in our home private theater. And it was really, really fun for me as a parent because Clark, man, was just loving it. He's like talking the whole time and like pointing things out and all this. I couldn't even hear the movie, what was going on half the time because he's just like, blah, 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 blah. But man, it was really good. And that's pretty much how we wrapped up our day. Cody got home like right when that movie was ending and we went for a walk. And that's a bonus feature you won't see in the video because it did record a video of that. But ultimately this week, outside of that was like my highlight of my day or my week. I just been working on Lego stuff, kind of getting things organized, listing things on eBay. I had an amazing weekend on eBay last weekend. I sold like 5 things. One day I took like 5 things to the post office. And I'm just like stoked on that to like sell things that aren't serving me anymore, like I mentioned before. And it's always nice when you get like the cha-ching through eBay. And like it's like for me, I don't even really care about the money. I just really enjoy the process. You know, like the money, I don't even notice it because it like, you know, you pay your eBay fees and all that stuff. And then after a few days, it just kind of gets moved to your bank account, which I don't really like. I wish it stayed there because my plan was to keep all that money into my PayPal. That way, if I ever want to buy something, I have to specifically use PayPal money. So what I think I'm going to do, and this is going to sound so dumb, I'm going to go through and see all the eBay deposits they put into my checking account throughout the year and then move that to PayPal. So that's my money. I can't spend any money other on Lego or video games or anything. I can't spend money that I didn't earn this year. And I'm going to even apply that towards camera equipment and stuff too. If I ever want to buy camera stuff, I got to sell something to get something. And I just think it's a really good way of holding yourself accountable and gamifying it. I like to make anything that a game into a game that I can. And that's eBay is kind of like my game. But speaking of games, well, let's speak of another thing I want to watch this week that I'm trying to get Clark hyped on. The One Piece live action series. I want to watch on Netflix. I saw a trailer for that. We didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but by the time you hear from me again next weekend, I will have watched at least a few episodes. I think they're all available. I thought it was going to be one of those things where they drip it out to you like the HBO model, but no, it looks like they're all available. So we're going to watch One Piece, which is like a Japanese manga. And it looks really good. The trailer really sold me. But back to video games as we cross all dimensions here. I was actually let down in the world of video games this week. I was pretty excited about this game called Starfield that was coming out from Bethesda. I really enjoy my favorite PlayStation 3 game. If it's not Grand Theft Auto 4, it's Fallout 3. I love this open world like RPG. Figure out where you want to go. The world is your oyster. Become a hoarder, collecting every little item you can. That's my life in Fallout. And I really love that game. And this is like their newest rendition of like, not that universe, but like something like, it's like an original property where it's a game kind of in that style, but set in space. And there was all this hype on it and stuff. But then I watched not only a review on it, but I also watched someone playing like the first 4 hours of it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I kind of was just looking in, and I was like, dude, this does not look appealing to me. This isn't something that I necessarily want to play. It's just a lot of just dialogue and talking, and it just all of the hype, it kind of just like the balloon deflated. And I saw it in other people too. A lot of the commentary on it from other viewers was kind of like, not giving it a thumb down, but giving it kind of like a eh. And I think it has like an 85 on Metacritic. I think what I'd rather play if I was going to go crazy is Elden Ring. I kind of missed that earlier this year, and that's a really difficult game, but kind of open world as well, where you can kind of choose what you want to do. But there's other games, like I missed a whole bunch of stuff. My video game backlog is worse than my Lego one. And I think what I'd really like to play, because I didn't play it, I like to play Fallout New Vegas. And then I'd also like to do another playthrough of Skyrim, because I got about like halfway through that game, I want to say, maybe. And I never beat that. So I'm debating whether to go back through into that save file or to create a brand new one and then play through. And that'd be a fun thing to record the gameplay of. There's Mellow Cat walking outside my window. I don't know if I want to stream it or not. I have people asking. They're asking on my Lego channel, like, Greg, when are you going to do another Greg's Arcade thing? And I'm like, how am I fitting that into my schedule? But from a gaming thing, I don't look at that as really something that I don't necessarily need to film it or to record it. I think that should be just something that I do for fun as downtime. And maybe if I did record while I'm playing, because I have to have my computer on anyway, because everything runs through my computer for when I do stream, I might just record the footage and if something funny happens, then just make like a little video out of that. But I don't want to overburden myself with too much. With the Lego stuff that I'm trying to do right now, that's basically like what I'm trying to do in Lego is more than what most full-time Lego YouTubers do. You know, they might put out a video a day. They aren't live streaming every day. They aren't doing shorts. They're not, I shouldn't say everyone. I don't think that's common. But then I also have the vlog thing that I'm doing here and there. And then I have a podcast and I love it. This is what I love to do, but I don't want to be like, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And that's how you get yourself into trouble. That's what happened to me with this podcast last year at this time. I was like, I'm going to do 3 different series and I'm going to try to get a 4th one in there. I like to have 4 different shows that I do each week. And thinking about that now, like hearing myself say that, it just does not seem sustainable at all. And it wasn't. Because then there's other things too. Like I'm now taking over meal prep. I did the laundry today. I like keeping the floors like immaculate. That's like my new thing. And it takes time to do that stuff. Plus if I want to work out, I need to go to the gym, got to get groceries, got to do all that, the house husband stuff too, right? So got to fit all this stuff in. But I think I can find it. And if there needs to be a thing that I can't do every day, because for some reason that's always like my thing. I'm going to do that every day. So I'm taking weekends off. We're just going to chill. And that'd probably be my gaming time, I want to say. And if I feel like firing up a stream then, maybe I will. It might be kind of cool to do that. Because sometimes I justify taking time off or doing something that's not productive by being like, oh, well, at least I'm entertaining people. But it's not like my gaming thing's ever going to become something. And it's just, I don't know. It's silly, right? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's very early in this new chapter that we're in. I'm only a week in. I've just given you what I've observed so far in my plans, and they're subject to change for sure. And you probably realize that. Speaking of, and I guess this may be our final topic of the week. I'm going to call this like my win of the week and or weekly improvement. If you didn't know, I'm doing this little thing where I try to do a little something around the house or in my life to make my life a little better. This week I had a couple things. One is I found this leaf blower on a great deal on Slick Deals. And I've been wanting this, like a good leaf blower, because mine that I had was absolute crap. And this one had a battery, so you don't have to plug it in. And this area under the deck here, I took it out because there's like, it's just like everything kind of collects because it almost makes like an L shape and then the stuff has nowhere to go. So there's like straw from Mellow Cat's cat house from last year and dirt and grass and leaves, especially after that big storm. And I took that out there. I felt like this was my calling because of the storm. I was like, I'm going to go out and take care of this. Turned that leaf blower on and man, it just cleared that right out. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. So now I have like this really good leaf blower and I can keep my like little patio space out here, if that's what you want to call it. I can keep that very nice and clean and orderly. So I'm happy with that. I also did something in Clarkman's closet. I noticed that he like keeps wearing the same clothes all the time. He takes care of his clothes. He puts them away, but he wears like the same shirts all the time. And I'm like, dude, you have like 100 shirts. Let's go into your closet. Let's get this sorted out and organized. So when you are picking a shirt, you can pick one that maybe you haven't worn in the last 3 days, right? So I went in there and I organized everything by color. All of his shirts are organized like almost in a rainbow. So my idea for him was to go in there and say you want to wear a blue shirt today, for example, like he did. Instead of it being the same Minecraft shirt that you wear every time because it's like in the front and you keep putting it in the front, all these shirts are kind of just lined up and you can pick out like whatever shirt you want. And I think that will be nice as long as he follows the system. And I told him I'm going to monitor this. When he gets his clothes cleaned, like he has clothes to put away, that's one of his little jobs. take the clothes over, and you got to put the blue shirts with the blue shirts and the red shirts with the red shirts. You got to make sure you do that because the system only works if you keep it nice. So this will be a lesson to him as well that like if you want something nice, you got to keep it nice. And if you want to have nice things, you got to take care of your stuff. So that was like my little improvement in what I did outside of all the other stuff that I talked about. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Again, listener feedback last week was pretty much just people making their case for why the podcast should continue. And I absolutely agree. And I appreciate the encouragement on that. Cause it can be a little lonely thing when you make something like this and like you talk to what are hundreds or 1,000 people and it's just like crickets. So it's nice to like hear what other people have to say. And if you're on the same page and if how you're feeling is how they feel and if how they feel is how you feel, it's nice to see that. And it kind of seems like that's the case. So I do appreciate you tuning in. I hope that you have a glorious week this week. If you're trying to figure out the next chapter of your life, you don't have to have it all figured out as I've proven. You can kind of just be like, this is what I'm going to do this week. This seems like what's going to work. And then next week, review how you did. And then be like, okay, we'll tweak this a little bit. And I think that's what you're probably going to see as I go here. I'll probably be talking about more content creation type stuff and the behind the scenes of that. That's the missing piece that you'll see there. Of course, you'll be hearing about things throughout the week, things that hopefully I'm winning at and maybe some things that I'm losing at too, particularly weight. And I'm excited to share all that. And I think it's great to have a place where I can do this and an honor to have people that are caring enough and interested enough to tune in. So on that, I hope you have a glorious week and we'll find you in the next Missing Pieces.